If you're just joining us, I'm Tim Barkley with Charleston Home and Design Magazine. And now we're talking with Zach Faulkner with Smart Vent Foundation Flood Vents. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing good. Glad to see another sunny day out.
That's right. Zach, take a moment and tell everybody about Smart Vent Foundation Flood Vents.
All right. A Smart Vent is an ICC ES, which is the International Code Council's evaluation service certified engineered flood opening. And what that means is that it is certified to work under flood-like conditions. Mm-hmm. It's mechanical in operation. There's no human intervention or interaction needed to actually open up the flood vent. It actually opens by itself when there is a flood.
Where do these flood vents go?
They go on any enclosed area below base flood elevation, and that's usually under your first living floor. So if you have a crawl space or a garage that sits on the ground, anything with four walls around it, basically below your first living floor, is going to need ventilation.
So most people, if you live on a raised house, either a crawl space or a house that's maybe 8-10 feet in the air,
right?
If you're on a raised foundation about 3 feet or so, you've got air vents.
Correct.
In your around the base of your house.
Right. And right. That's our biggest competitor, if you want to say, is a typical air vent. And the problem with air vents that are used as flood vents, and obviously we're talking living in a floodplain, which most people in Charleston do. An air vent has screens, louvers, face plates, a mesh screen on the back, which slows down water traveling through it and gets clogged with debris. Mm-hmm. An engineered opening like a smart vent actually opens up and has unobstructed areas for water and debris to pass through, and that's what you want, because in a flood, debris is a fact of flood. Water's ripping down the streets, picking up any and everything in its path. And if you just have typical air vents on there, they're not going to work. Mm-hmm. And ICCES certified engineered opening like smart vent is going to get you through.
So if you have air vents, and I've even seen sometimes when a house is built, they'll build their own type vents out of wood. Yeah. It seems like, and maybe they put some mesh, screening on that or something like that.
Yeah, we see a lot people just cutting out like the CU block, just the concrete block, and then throwing a mesh screen on there. That's what's classified. Air vents and things like that are classified through FEMA and the International Code Council as non-engineered openings. A couple drawbacks to those. One, you're paying more money on your flood insurance. When you have an engineered opening, you pay less. Two, the minimal square foot coverage of air vents or non-engineered openings. Typical air vents are going to get anywhere from 30 to 60, we see, square foot coverage. And a smart vent actually gets 200 square foot in that same 8x16 opening. So so you need way less smart vents, and they're actually made for flood, and they actually work.
Mm-hmm. Do an air vent? Obviously, people put in air vents because they want some sort of airflow underneath their house. Right. I know that when like termite inspectors come and they crawl underneath your house, they take a reading of the percentage of moisture content in the wood sills and so forth underneath your house. Do the Smart Vent Foundation flood vents also act as air vents? Yeah,
we have two series, if you will. We have our 510 series, which is our dual function series, which dual functions as a flood vent and an air vent. So it does have louvers that automatically open and close depending on the temperature, and there is airflow through that. And then we have our 520 series, or insulated series, which is going to be primarily for conditioned crawl spaces, or where you want that moisture control. You don't want the free-flowing air through like you would an air vent. But we do have those two options for those specific reasons.
Right. And if you're in an elevated house that might be 10 feet in the air,
right,
you might want that space underneath your house. You might not want a lot of airflow underneath your house.
Right. But that's exactly why we've got the two options, because a lot of people want that airflow under there. But then if you have like maybe your garage, you're not really going to want a bunch of moisture. So then you're going to go with the insulated vent.
Well, here's the big question. A lot of people are probably listening to this and saying, okay, I have those air vents underneath my house, and these Smart Vent Foundation flood vents sound great, but I've already got air vents, so how do I trade them out? Can you retrofit an existing house with smart vent foundation flood vents?
Yes, you can, and it's a super easy process. Like I said, most air vents fit in an 8x16 hole, which is exactly what smart vent fits in as well. If they go to smartvent.com, they can go to our locator tab and type in Charleston, and they'll see a list of recommended installers that we have, and they can call them up and get advice from them or have them do the job for them. But it's super easy. They take that air vent out, basically throw a seal of adhesive around our vent and stick it in. It's you could do it yourself. It's just pretty easy.
So smart vent foundation flood vents can be retrofitted into an existing home. Second question a lot of our listeners probably have right now is what kind of price tag are we looking at?
Well, you got to shop around. The suggested MSRP is around $200 a vent.
$200 a vent. And
yeah.
how many vents in a typical house?
Typically, I mean, it just depends how big your crawl space or whatever the enclosed area is. But we see anywhere from 2 to 8.
2 to 8.
Yep.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things about, again, having that engineered opening, like a smart vent, is the savings that you get on your flood insurance. And that directly, the cost of that install, a lot of times is taken care of in the refund check that you actually get from your insurance company.
Okay, now you got my attention. So once you get the smart vent foundation flood vents installed in your house,
right.
Next step is what?
Next step is you're going to have to either get your insurance adjuster or a new to come out and look, or a new elevation certificate. And once you do that, you can send those two documents. What you're going to want to do, we have a program called FRE. It's Flood Risk Evaluator. It's a complimentary service that we have to help homeowners lower their flood insurance. Mm-hmm. It's yourfloodrisk.com. Once you get smart vents on your home, or before that, really before you do that, you can actually go to yourfloodrisk.com, upload your current elevation certificate and your current declaration page. And with those two documents, we can tell the homeowner any and every possible way to lower their flood insurance. And we actually own our own insurance company, so we're able to tell them what their new premium is going to be, a.k.a. how much money they're going to save before they actually do any of the recommended steps. So go out and buy smart vents, please, but I would actually suggest going to yourfloodrisk.com first to see if the smart vents are actually going to do anything for you, which in most cases they do, but we find errors in the elevation certificates. We find errors in the declaration page. That's why we want both of those documents. And no matter if you need smart vents or not, we're going to send you back a full about 4 or 5 page report telling you any and everything that we saw that can help you save money. It's 100% complimentary. There are no obligations. We need more people from here doing it. I don't have enough, getting reports back from corporate saying, we need more from your area. So it's 100% complimentary. If you pay flood insurance, send it in and see if it can get lowered. I mean, It's that simple.
Right. And for instance, when we built our house and we had windows that can withstand flying debris,
right,
impact-rated windows,
right.
we let our insurance company know about it. Your insurance company, a lot of times when it comes to your insurance, it's just one of those necessary evils. You don't pay attention to it.
Right.
But when we let our insurance company know that our house would be protected, the windows would be protected, they said, oh, okay, you're different from your neighbors, so we're going to give you a discount.
Right.
And that's the same kind of thing, right, with
exactly.
the Smart Vent Foundation flood vents?
Exactly. You just have something that's certified to work under whatever conditions you're talking about, like hurricane-proof windows. This is a certified flood vent. Same exact scenario. This is made, if there is a flood, these are going to hold up. If there was a hurricane, your windows aren't going to shatter.
Right.
Same exact scenario.
Right. So the insurance company just assumes that you do not have anything special on your house
until you prove it.
Until you prove it, and
right.
then when you prove it, the insurance company says, "Okay, well, you deserve a little break on your insurance."
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not a little break. We actually see 83% average savings through FRE. So I mean, and again, that's maybe you don't even need smart vents. Send your stuff into FRE, yourfloodrisk.com. It's super easy. It'll take you 5 minutes to, just like Geico, 15 minutes or less can save you money on your insurance. Well, we can save you money on your flood insurance in even less time.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people who lived in areas that have never flooded before. Harkening back to this past fall with all the flooding we had,
Right.
and so they don't call where we live the Low Country for nothing. We
Right,
are.
yeah.
It's a very low elevation. It's very close to sea level,
Right.
and you just never know. You might think you're in a house that has never flooded, but we have so many newcomers that
Right.
that their
No idea
span
used to
of
flood.
time is 5 or 10 or 20 years, when in fact they might be subject to some sort of flood, and you do not want that wall of water coming at your house and without smart vent foundation flood vents. You want that water to be able to go right underneath your house, pass through,
Right.
and leave your house intact.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things that one of the examples I use the most when talking about smart vent is what they do is kind of just let the water flow through like it naturally would. If you have air vents, they clog up. You have constant water pressure on your foundation walls. That's when you're going to get cracks. There's a ton of homes around Charleston with brick enclosed areas, and you get cracks in those foundations. Smart vent's going to open up for you, let the water pass through and be on its way, and you don't have to worry about it. That's one of the biggest things. You can't put a price on, peace of mind. Having a smart vent foundation flood vent on your home, you're going to be good during a flood, and we guarantee it.
How can folks get more information about the flood risk evaluator and smart vent foundation flood vents?
All right, first flood risk evaluator, again, complimentary service to help homeowners lower their flood insurance. Try it out. It's 100% complimentary, and that's yourfloodrisk.com. And then smart vent, we have tons of videos on how the vents work if you're curious about that. Locator tab to find an authorized surveyor, to find a dealer where to buy them, to find an installer to have someone put them in for you. And that's just smartvent.com.
All right, great. Well, we have been talking with Zach Faulkner with Smart Vent Foundation Flood Vents. Thanks,
Thanks,
Zach.
Thank you.